All right. Hey, it's Walter, and I have not made or, produced any podcasts for quite a while. And for some reason, I decided I'm going to give it a shot. Please forgive me for a minute. It's great. I haven't done, have not produced anything in a long time. I'm going to try to actually raise my audio levels. Now, the problem is I can't see because I have a monitor with a recording device. It's a Windows device, which I'm not really big on. I'm not a big keen fan. And it's what comes with Windows. I've tried every program, including, actually tonight I actually tried, because I bought it when I first had to transition over from the having a Mac for so many years back to a PC just because I had lost my job. That's a different story too. I want to mention that too. But yeah, I wanted to do a video podcast because they usually are pretty simple, at least on the Mac, not on the PC. Forget that. So I tried everything. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still working at this. So please forgive me. And I'm hoping that this will be the last step before I go to bed at 7 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, yeah, the Adobe Premiere does not work that well. In fact, it worked like crap. Audacity seemed to always work. I've had issues with that in the past where sounds became washed out and everything like that on a PC. But the same software on a Mac does not seem to have that issue. I mean, on a Mac or on a PC that's running a personal computer that is running Linux. Now, Matt will correct me probably on that. So I'm like experimenting. I really am not a big Windows fan. I don't think Windows is good for anything except for playing video games and what else? Making typing up office papers. But anything else, I think it's horrible. So I'm going to be, something I should know how to do anyway because, I graduated with a communications degree, and I remember that the audio and the video were shot separately, and then you got to sync it up. Well, guess what? That's what I'm going to be doing tonight because I'm using Audacity for my audio production, which it sounds like it's going in and out. I can hear it through my headset, and the video is being shot separately on a webcam. So that's pretty crazy. I haven't done anything like that ever. Besides college, and I graduated from college in 2001. It'll be exactly 20 years ago. Speaking of which, the job that I had when I, finally graduated from school, I had lost, it's hard to believe this, almost 3 years ago. And I got a really shafty deal on that because, I try to plea bargain for my job back. I actually got a lawyer who had helped me absolutely in no way and just stopped calling me. This Philadelphia, this lawyer from Philadelphia, who was real gun ho to help me. I actually had a lawyer from my job because I was in a union. It was a union lawyer who tried really hard, but this other lawyer who I had as a backup in case I had this job for my other job, not my new job. My other job I had for 18 years. It's the longest I've ever held any job. And this dumb schmuck from Philadelphia decided to interfere with what was going on with the lawyer at the time who was working with the union by interjecting himself or putting himself in the picture while I was still working with the first lawyer. And you can't do that. So he actually, in my opinion, he helped me lose my job. So thank you so much. I had a job for 18 years, and the job in response gave me absolutely nothing. Like I should have gotten something for, being there for 18 years, like a severance pay or something, or, something, but I got zero. I got nothing. So yeah, I was quite upset about that. Forgive the lighting and the poor quality of this video. It is a webcam. I've tried everything with lighting. I'm actually just using a ordinary light bulb. Really, I should have used something else. Other than that, again, I have not produced anything. I think before the coronavirus was probably the last time. Maybe during the coronavirus I did something, but I kind of don't think so. At least when it became full blown, oh, you're going to wear a face mask everywhere, which is just crazy. So I kind of wanted to give people a view of my room, my adult childhood room. And, this is my whole entire life is behind these four walls. I don't really do much of anything else. And I probably won't get any hits, so I don't really care. Actually, it really upset me today because I asked a friend to get back to me about something. He works, but he had plenty of time to get back to me, and I asked, hey, I was interested in doing this Camp Crystal Lake tour. Well, the only day that I would be able to attend would be the end of this month on a Sunday. The price actually wasn't that bad because the first time we went to one of these events, it was really expensive. It was a couple $100. But of course, I was working at a job that paid really well. I'm no longer working at a job that pays the kind of money I was making before. So anyway, it was for this thing, Camp Crystal Lake Tours. It's in New Jersey. So he was a little bit kind of funny about that, but it's in the middle of like nowhere. It's like actually on the outskirts of Jersey, neighboring Pennsylvania very closely. I mean, it's like right on the border, and it's called Blairstown. So I said, hey, on Sunday, September 27th, they're happening these tours that are, a decent length of time, and I wouldn't mind doing it. Could you get back to me? So he said, I got to think about it. I got to look into it. And lo and behold, even though I just found out about the event today, it's already sold out. So, yeah, I'm kind of pissed off. And unfortunately, the only day that I would be able to go is on Sunday because, I would take the day off afterwards, but I would have a day to, I would have a day to recoup that way. Now I can't. The only days available are a Monday and a Tuesday. I work both those days. So, yeah, that really kind of gets me beyond angry, a bit pissed off. So anyway, hey, I'm not going to go Monday or Tuesday at this point unless they do another tour, which they will eventually, but not at this price because right now they can't get people to go on these tours because of this coronavirus thing. Now, it's out in the open, and those tours are like short, small groups anyway. I seriously doubt it's at a campground. You're out. The worst you're going to get is probably not the coronavirus. I think the worst thing that anybody's going to get there is probably mosquito bites. Because, and it's a pretty short tour. It's just fun to go on, but, whatever. I should have known. I should have just bought myself a ticket and said, screw it, and just go myself. Because they even said they're going to restrict the amount of people to be able to go anyway. Because of the coronavirus. So, yeah, I'm actually very annoyed at that. Now, the fact that I have not done, and have not produced or whatever you want to say, a podcast in such a long time, this is going to seem like a little bit like unorganized, which actually all of my podcasts are very unorganized. Speaking about coronavirus, I forgot about that. They were filming that new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. And now that's been kind of postponed because he has the coronavirus. He tested positive. So, not that it's going to make any difference because the film actually wasn't intended to come out until next year or whatever, something like that. And most production work has been postponed. Like, that was one of the few films they've actually, I think, shot during this whole pandemic around the world. So I was kind of shocked by that. But yeah, I was in Los Angeles Times. I'm looking at it right now. It says COVID-19 hits Gotham. Filming of the Batman, because that's the name of the movie, it's shut down after a star test positive. So, I mean, a lot of people weren't too thrilled with Robert Pattinson. Maybe they'll get somebody else to play the part now. Or they're just wait, because usually with this whole coronavirus thing, they don't tell you how many people survive it. They just tell you and make up numbers on how many people don't survive it. So, we'll see. We will see. Since I am doing a video on this as opposed to my other way, well, I'm actually shooting both the audio and the video separately. I could. I just don't, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to go to bed by at least 5 a.m. And I had some stuff I have to do tomorrow, so I won't be able to if I'm, editing all this stuff together. So I actually wanted to kind of talk about some of the, I actually did go to 2 films 2 weeks ago, and it was actually pretty nice. Yeah, there was something I'm looking at through my articles, and it was funny because I noticed one friend I work with, his job, he's going to be, he's not going to have it soon because they're shutting down his place of business. Not the entire business, but I won't say what it is just in case he would listen in. But he works in retail as a manager, his particular store. Speaking about the coronavirus, actually, I saw this tonight too. Michael Rooker, most people know him from, I have to laugh, but from Guardians of the Galaxy. The reason I'm laughing is because my one friend had seen Michael Rooker at a convention years ago, and they asked him, didn't you make a movie about Penhurst State Penitentiary, the place that's been closed down since the 70s? And Michael Rooker, basically, he responded, because he did make a movie. It's really, really bad about Penhurst, and he produced it. He directed it. It's his film. But the movie was so bad, and he tries to just deny the fact that he actually made such a piece of garbage, that his response to my one friend Todd was, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. And that was exactly his response. So that's an ongoing joke between me and my friend's brother, Todd's brother, Paul, and myself. Not many other people. Oh, did I mention this, though? I was starting to, at least. One friend where he works, he gets really annoyed by people going through the dumpster and taking things out after he, has to defect out certain products at his place of business. And I think it's like Office Depot, Office Max. I don't even know. It's one of those kind of places. I said I wasn't going to mention. I just did. Anyway, he gets annoyed because he finds the dumpster lid open, and obviously he doesn't want anybody to do that because they could get hurt. Actually, I have to look up. But some woman actually had made by just quote unquote dumpster diving, $30,000 just on pulling things out of dumpsters and selling it. Now, technically, believe it or not, that's illegal. So that's why I'm kind of trying to look for this article now. Hopefully I won't shut down my my thing. Yeah, because I sent it to the friend Todd, and now I can't find it. But yeah, there's an article on dumpster diving. And now I don't even know where it is, actually. So, yeah. Trying to look for it. It's not even that important. Oh, you know what was funny? I just pulled that up. Hopefully my camera can still record me. There was this movie. It was on Shudder. I bought that like a couple months ago. It was like 40 some bucks when they gave me a deal for the whole year for that Shudder TV. And there was a movie on there. It's called the THE, the Vampire Lovers. And it was like, wow, this is kind of like borderline soft porn. You can tell like it was kind of edited. That by the way, it's a Hammer film, and the movie is bad, but the nudity, the nude scenes, I should say, because I did not say that right correctly. The nude scenes, and that the main vampire is a woman vampire who basically, has like sex or whatever you want to call it. She is making out with women and then turning them into killing them or making them into vampires, whatever, is a lot different than your norm. Just it always being male vampires or something. So yeah, I was like, wow, I'm right there. I can't find that story on the dumpster diving woman, but it did say something like she was making like $30,000 a year off of just jumping through dumpsters. It's like, wow, if you could add that to your regular pay, that would be pretty sweet. That would be actually really nice. And so anyway, this movie, there was two sequels. It's a trilogy. These movies, like with that one with the vampire lovers, which is actually lesbians. So yeah, it's like a lesbian soft porn movie, and it was like, alrighty, this is right up my alley. I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. And the first one was really cool because the main woman who played the main vampire, the character, I wonder if I can pull that up, the trilogy name. Vampire Lovers Trilogy. Some guy wrote about it, so that's the only reason I know. But her name, I think, is Ingrid Pitt, and she's not like great looking, but yeah, she had a nice nude body, and they showed everything in the Hammer film. Like, they didn't leave anything to your imagination. You see everything completely nude. And there was a woman actually in the first of the trilogy movies, The Vampire Lovers, was a woman named Kate O'Mara, who actually played a villain in Doctor Who back in the late 80s, known as Durrani. And when I saw her back then, I was like, wow, that woman's kind of like up there in age, but she looks like she had to be pretty hot at one point. And I was not wrong about that because this Kate O'Mara, she was actually really hot, because this is like a 1970 movie in The Vampire Lovers. Unfortunately, you don't see her nude. You see every other woman nude, but you don't see her. So she must have, drew a line. So anyway, yeah, it's called the Karnstein, I think it's Karnstein Trilogy. And the movies are The Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire was the second one, and Twins of Evil, which actually was only one twin. Now that was both the second and third movie in the trilogy were shot the same year. That's pretty bad, but with different actresses playing the main character, who, I can't even remember the character's name. But that main character is in all three movies, but it's kind of weird because in the very first movie, the character gets her head chopped off. At the end of the movie, she gets staked through the heart because she's a vampire, and her head chopped off just to make sure she wouldn't resurface. But somehow, by the second movie, not only was it played by a different actress, and then for the third movie, another actress. They probably did that for the second and third because they shot those movies both the same year. So yeah, that's kind of weird. So maybe they were shooting both at the same time too. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's the woman, the character, the main vampire, and I hate to tell you, all three women were really hot who played. I found the name. It's called. Her name was the Countess Karnstein. She was really. All three women were really hot, and all were completely nude in all three films. You know, each one playing the same character. But it was just kind of weird when you see that in the first one, that character got her head chopped off, and then miraculously, it's not decapitated by the second and third movie. But like I said, the women, especially in the third one, oh my God, that one was hot. But the movies got, the second and third one were just really bad. I mean, not to say the first one was good, but yeah, by the third one, it was god-awful. It was really bad. Now, my question was, there was these twins, which I believe they were real twins. That must have been pretty interesting in this film. And they weren't nude until the very end, and then one of the twins was nude, completely nude. I mean, from head to toe, from front to back. I mean, you saw absolutely everything. Nothing was left up to your imagination. Well, maybe this is why, because it said the one was in Playboy, and actually both of them were. Mary and Madeline. Let's see. I thought I could find for more, because I was curious about that, because I hate to tell you, the two girls who played in this film, they were identical twins in real life, I believe. But, yeah, because they show their real name. Yeah, they were real twins. And both, I believe, were in Playboy. Now, here's the weird thing. In this movie, at least, they looked awfully young. Like, kind of borderline. Who was that who was in Playboy that was underage at the time? That kind of kind of dangerously really young, and I don't know. I don't know if they got in trouble. I was trying to look for information maybe on their age, and then kind of taking it from there. But yeah, they were really incredible looking. They were in Playboy, but I don't know if it was Playboy that got in trouble at the time. God, I can't. I wish I could remember. It's on the tip of my tongue, the one woman who got in trouble. The one thing I noticed, though, by the way, is in England, they get away with a lot more what is considered okay. Because the very first film in that trilogy was rated R. The other one's got a lighter rating, and yeah, it was less soft porn kind of style, but you definitely saw a lot of nudity, a lot of, everything from both girls in the third one. Because I'm looking at their pictures, and yeah, not only do they look really young, but they're like stark naked, even these pictures online. And the second film was the same way. I mean, those were less pornographic, kind of like, I'm not talking like hardcore porn, but like beyond softcore porn. I mean, it was like your smoke's coming out of your collar of your shirt, because it's like, whoa, this is really going on here. But yeah, these actresses who played the twins in the very last movie, I was kind of like a little nervous watching. I was like, well, these women, these young girls, looked like they were kind of underage at the time. Now, I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I shouldn't go any further with this. Anyway, yeah, they were fun films to watch. Well, in many ways I won't mention. Hey, going back to the coronavirus, Villanova University, which is right down the street from where I attended college back in the day. They had 15 positive cases of coronavirus just like 2 weeks ago, I think. Not even. I think it was like a week ago I saw that story. So, yeah, that seems to be the happening thing. Everybody's getting coronavirus. Maybe it's like the in thing to do. It's not even funny, is it? And by the way, well, one thing is just to let people know who may be listening to this. My mother's birthday is on September 9th. But how many people are going to remember that this year, on September 11th, that it's 19 years since, no, 18 years actually, right? 19 years since, the two World Trade Centers got destroyed by terrorists, because it seems like people don't really care anymore. And next year is going to be 20 years since those, the towers, we got attacked by terrorists in New York. Now, the weird thing about that is, by the way, is it didn't take that long afterwards for people to forget. Like the first year, after it happened, people were really kind of remembering it, especially in New York, real gung-ho, and then it kind of like trickled down. And I mean, God, people still seem to kind of remember even World War II, and that was like, I remember feeling the pain from that almost 30, 40, 50 years after it happened. Like it was still talked about. It was still a big deal. A lot of movies were made about World War II still today, which would be like almost 70 years ago at this point. But 9/11, it had taken less than 20 years for people to completely forget about it. So that's like really, really sad. Yeah, I don't know. People are just very interested in how I mean, I should say it's like very interesting how people just seem to forget like something as serious as, hey, not to ruin your day, but do you know like thousands of people had died when I know I'm probably incorrect on that number because I'm not giving a exact percentage, but that's not the point. I mean, people forgot how many people, got killed, innocent people, and were jumping off the top of the building, which was really, both those buildings were really high, because they knew they were going to die or be burned alive. But, apparently that's not a big deal, because it had taken less than 20 years, and you totally forgot. So congratulations on that one, folks. Less than 20 years. At least somewhat people do remember World War II, and that's not actually saying too much either, because I think a lot of people forgot that too at this point. I'm sorry, I'm going through some crazy pictures right now, and trying to look for actually stories too. But one other thing I actually did want to mention, and I think I still have it up. Yeah, I do. Because I did go see two movies about 2 weekends ago, or was it last weekend? I can't remember. I think it was like 2 weekends ago. And one was The New Mutants, and that wasn't that great. But here's the good thing is, I know it's not a big deal for most of us, or probably just me. But it's nice to see that, people are kind of a little less afraid to leave their homes to go at least see a movie. And I thought when the movie theaters, personally, when they first opened, I thought it would be just like crazy, and people would just flock to the movie theaters. It's like, oh, we can finally get out of our house. No, that wasn't the case. Now, New Mutants did pretty good because it's been out for 3 weeks. It's usually I'm looking at Box Office Mojo. No, actually, in release about a little over 2 weeks ago. 1 week, 9 days ago. Now, this is not going to set a world record in movies, but look what's going on around the world. That's what I look at. And worldwide, since it opened about a little over 2 weeks ago, the movie has made almost close to $20 million. For the last 6 months, there has been no listings of movies making any money because all the movie theaters were closed down. And when they first opened up, people are just too damn afraid to go to the movie theaters. And movies, from when I started following, the nonsense of how much a movie makes, some of these movies were making hundreds of millions of dollars, almost $1 billion, a couple of them. So you kind of I can track what through movies for me, I can track what people are doing, or what they're, where is their money going, or where, what's going on? Like, are people actually physically leaving their house at this point? And that was not happening for 6 months because of all this nonsense. And it is election year, and that's in November. So, thanks to the political stance on things, they've been trying to do everything just to make sure that the one side, I'm keeping out of this subject, making it clear on which party I'm discussing, because I don't want that in here if I can help it. I'll end up slipping, I know. So anyway, yeah, the thing I seem to be able to follow very easily is movies, because I like movies. I love movies. And I, for once was able to see a movie in the theater and not at home. That was nice. So anyway, believe it or not, the one movie actually that since, what is that? Post, well, it's still going on. You really can't say it. I was going to say post coronavirus, coronavirus that's made a lot of money. It's this new movie that just came out called Tenet. Yeah, because it said it made $53 million internationally on its opening, and it's a Christopher Nolan movie, so that's a given. So I'm going by, yeah. Oh, wow. Actually, we made a lot more than that. Unless I'm looking at these numbers wrong. I probably am too. But yeah, it made a lot of money. Because it says worldwide 146, so I don't know if that's 146 million. But then after a $53 million international opening, Christopher Nolan's Tenet is finally getting its domestic release, while Tenet is taking up most of the conversations this weekend. There are some films coming into play, including several limited releases and the continued release of Bill and Ted's Face the Music, which I did see, The New Mutants, which I did see, and Unhinged. So to me, that's kind of like, okay, things are starting to look up. I know I'm talking just about movies, but either way, it's kind of like a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for me, where things are actually kind of looking up in a strange way for me through movies. So I thought that was kind of cool. There's not much more I can go with that one. And by the way, both the New Mutants movie and also that movie of Bill and Ted were both pretty bad. But it was just nice, like my one friend Matt said, just to get out of the house for a change. It was really nice. Yeah. So, yeah, it's getting late, too. It's almost 20 of 6 in the morning. So, yeah, this is, I haven't not produced anything or whatever, made a podcast in such a long time. So I really don't have much on my plate. I have plenty to talk about, but who's going to listen to me besides Matt? Probably nobody. And I'm experimenting. I'm not a big Windows fan. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, and when I made the transition over, I believe I did, but yeah, I think I did, because I was trying just to do audio podcast on the Alienware computer I have. But I wanted to do something that I don't have to put a beginning in, a title, and an end in. I just wanted to be able to kind of just put something together and throw it up on YouTube without having the hassle of, putting everything else, title, audio on there and end in title of music. Yeah, I just didn't. I just wanted to take the easy way out, which it's not. Trust me, it is not. Anyway, I just decided to, because I'm going to try to round this up very quickly now at this point, because it's almost going to be close to a normal show for me. My shows usually run an hour. It was kind of weird. I'm looking at somewhere in Pennsylvania, 80 plus coronavirus cases linked to PA schools. See where. Don't worry, I won't read it. I'm not gonna drive you crazy with my reading habits. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, like, since I've been at this, I have a new job for the last, it's hard to believe, it'll be almost 2.5 years, 3 years almost, that I'll be at a job that, I had to start all over with, and I made almost like a third of what I made before. Maybe actually less than that, maybe half of what I made before. So it definitely, and the only thing that has saved my sanity, I guess, is my parents, for one. They help me out with my overdraft on my bills, on a daily basis. They're getting up there in age, but I have a roof over my head because of my parents. Otherwise, I would be out on the street. That's number one. And two, because of the coronavirus, you really can't do anything anyway. Because normally, for almost the last 18 years of my life since I started that other job, I was going everywhere on trips. Went out to the West Coast, went to these elaborate concerts, in style, not elaborate concerts, but I went in such a way that I would take a trip, out of state, probably not that far a state over from us, and, see a concert and spend a couple days and make it a mini vacation. I would get expensive tickets to conventions, comic conventions, and other types of conventions, horror conventions, and celebrity conventions, and never thought twice about it. Now I have to watch everything I do because the money is not what it used to be. It's horrible. In fact, it was funny. I just thought about that. I was like, oh my God, if something happens to my car that I have, I'm not going to be able to buy another car like I did. When I was at that job that I had, I must have bought at least 6 different cars. I can name them all. Maybe not that many. Maybe there was. There was a Mustang I bought, and I got rid of that. I bought 2 different types of Ford Escapes, 2 Jettas, and I think there were some cars in between there I bought that I can't even remember. I'm not even joking. Matt's going to laugh at that. So you had to say it, Walter. No, but I did. I think I bought another car in between. It was just not that good, so I traded it in right away. And between, I want to say, because that sounds better, even though it may be or may not be true, between buying and trading in several different cars, I finally settled with a Volkswagen Tiguan, and it's really nice. But I've had that car for 5 years. Believe it or not, that's the longest I've had a car without trading it in. And if something happens to that, I'm going to be like really screwed because I can't afford to make payments on another car. And that was one thing I honestly didn't even have to worry about. So it was rather nice. But now those days are over too. So yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of depressing. One day I'm on top of the world, and I was actually, mad or laugh at this and won't believe me, but I was actually considering moving out of the house at one point, back to my old stomping grounds when I lived there for a very brief period of time down in Horsham at this place called Blairville Apartments. That was a few years ago. I actually checked into that, and it was like, well, you know what? I don't really want to. I don't think I'm ready for that because I kind of like not being by myself. And that's not a problem now because there's no way I can move out. I can't. I'm like I get paid bi-weekly, and every other week, before the first week's even up, between my bi-weekly paychecks. Excuse me for rubbing my eyes, because you can see that now. I am in the negative, like by $100 or a couple $100 every other week. So between paychecks. How can I pay rent when I can't even barely stay on top of my bills? And I know what kind of bills you have to pay, Walter. It's like food and gas. And, that stuff adds up because I'm buying stuff not only for myself. I try to buy stuff for my parents as well for around the house. They eat out every night, but they are eating at home as well. And especially my father, he eats quite a bit because they're retired. They have nothing else better to do. He's in good shape, but he does eat a lot of food. It's like I'm buying food for adult kids. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It sounds pretty nasty, but it's true. So anyway, I just went a little too high. I should have turned down my volume levels. I think it's a little bit too much. But yeah, I'm just, again, I hope it's not going to look that great. I never really had very much luck doing video editing on a PC, and audio is like pretty much not that much better. It's a little bit. So you're going to get the worst of both worlds, especially after I haven't made a podcast for a very long time. So I think this is a good amount of time because by the time I put this up on YouTube, it's going to be way after 6, and my parents will be rummaging upstairs, and I'll sleep in again tomorrow and get nothing done otherwise. So I went through some stuff I want to get rid of now. Some old, some movies I've never watched and some games. So I wanted to get that done tomorrow too. So anyway, I'm just going to say, even though it really won't make any sense because there's no ending credits, no beginning credits on this show, but I'm just going to say this is Walter from iWalter, and I will end this show now. So have a good one, everyone.